Jessie, speaking of this, I wanted to ask you, have you not stayed in contact with Jimin anymore? Wan shook her head lightly. She had won the first place in the emerging designer competition 3 years ago. She initially had the chance to study abroad in Paris, but she rejected. Jimin had come to see her for a few times and asked why she refused to go. There were confusion, loneliness, and also disappointment on his face. Yet, she still did not have the courage to tell him the truth and deleted all his contract details. What could she say? Could she possibly tell him that night when she was brimmed with happiness after getting first place in the competition, she certainly received the news that Lee Chen, one's father, had owed 30 million on debt? She still could not recover from the shocking news until now. Jessie let out a sigh and leaned against the couch. I still feel pity for you and Jimin until now. You were a perfect couple back in school, and anyone could tell you guys like each other. What's left was you didn't admit your relationship. We initially thought you will be together after Paris. Who knew that would happen? That was so unfair. Wan spoke after being silent for a few seconds. Wan, that's already the first. Jessie, hey, let's not mention unhappy things anymore. Do you know? Jessie cracked a few jokes, and after successfully making Wan laugh, she chastised Jungkook and Sumi for the whole night. Yet, when Wan was lying on the bed, she could not help but recall what Sumi said to her in the washroom. Although Jungkook would never say those words, what he wanted to convey was exactly the same. Wan knew she had held Jungkook back. Therefore, during their marriage these 3 years, she had tried her best to play her role as a good wife. No matter what nasty things he said to her or how the Jeon family mocked her, she would never complain. She knew how much he hated her, yet she would still feel pain when reality resembled a poisonous knife stabbing right into her. Wan buried her head in the blanket. She remembered something when she was in a state of dreaming an eloque. 3 years ago, after knowing Jeon had owed a high debt of 30 million won, she asked around for money and had even abased herself to ask the person in charge of the competition whether she could give up the place of studying in Paris and get cancelled instead. She could still remember what the person in charge said to her until now. Miss Promise, I'm sorry. Our boss said the chance is for those who truly have the dream to design, not for those who treat this competition as an opportunity to make money or gain benefit. Wan was startled for a long time when she heard that. She went home and scolded the so-called boss for the whole night while crying. Who doesn't wish to have a pure dream? After a few days, Jeon ran away. The loan sharks came to her house and let her make a choice, which was either to see down one of her brother's hands or her taking initiative to live with them. Wan was left with no choice, and without caring for Lee Min-ho's devastated cries, she walked out of the house with them without saying a word. People had sold her to the Twilight Club, which was a money-oriented place that provided rich people with leisure, alcohol, and women. They had adulterated their wine. Although she had prepared herself to accept her fate, when the pumped middle-aged man in his 40s or 50s entered, she suddenly thought of Jimin and the promise about going to Paris. The promise she didn't fulfill, not knowing from where she got the strength. She pushed the middle-aged man away and ran out. Someone had been chasing after her from behind. Not knowing how long she ran, she finally saw a strong but blurry figure. She fell on the ground and snatched his high-quality suit. "Please save me." After saying those words, she lost all her consciousness. When she woke up once again, she was inside a strange room and a strange man was lying down beside her. The scattered clothes near the bed were enough to prove what had happened last night. Her throat was a little dry. After feeling sad for a while, she started to console herself. At least that guy still looked okay. He was way better than that pig last night. Having remembered what happened last night, Wine was worried of Minho. She quickly wore her clothes, wanting to get back. As she was going to leave, she seemed to have woken the man on the bed up. He slightly wrinkled his eyebrows. Wine immediately put the blanket on his head and parted softly, whispering, "It's all right, keep sleeping." She looked like she was cajoling a child. Wine only ran away when no more sound was heard under the blanket. The creditor had come to her house once again. Luckily, Minho was not home because he was seeking her. One called him to report her safety and asked him not to go home recently but go to his friend's house for a while. She then sought for Jessie after hiding here and there for 2 months when suddenly realized she was pregnant one day. It was 4 a.m. when Wine woke up. She got up and drank a glass of water, sitting in the living room and started to watch movies. Wine had kept herself in the room for 3 days and she finally had some basic ideas in her mind. As she was going to draw it out, she received a call from a strange number. She put down her pencil and spoke politely. "Hi, who is this?" "Mingo, Mrs. I'm Mingo, Mr. John's assistant. Mr. John is going for a business trip to Maldives tomorrow. He wants to ask you for the blue and white striped shirt." Wine was exceptionally annoyed to be interrupted when she just had some ideas, and even by such a trivial thing, that made her suspect that Jungkook was seeking trouble on purpose. She then replied rudely, "Excuse me, I have divorced him, and what does his shirt have to do with me? Ask the housemaid, please." After finished, she hung up without hesitance. 2 minutes later, her phone rang once more, and the incoming call was from Jungkook himself. She fell silent for a moment and still picked it up. "Lee Wyan, come back in half an hour." This time, without waiting for her to reply, Jungkook hung up straight away. Wyan grabbed her phone and was so eager to beat that man up. She took a deep breath and after calming herself down, she got up and left the room. Seeing her, Jessie asked, "Honey, it's late now. Where are you going?" "Wyan, I'm going to drag that bastard to hell with me." Of course, Wyan only said that for fun. How would she have the ability to compete Jungkook? After reaching the Rose Mansion, she noticed the servants had already gone to rest and the surrounding was exceptionally quiet. Wyan went upstairs to the 2nd floor and pushed the bedroom door open. Jungkook was sitting on the couch in his casual clothes. He was flipping the document in front of him with his slender fingers. He did not raise his head and glanced at her, although he had heard the sound. Wyan walked straight to the closet and she finally found the blue and white striped shirt the assistant was talking about after searching the place all over. She was slightly startled upon seeing the shirt. It was the shirt she had especially bought for Jungkook when she knew he wanted to go for a business trip to Hawaii during the year when they had just gotten married. The shirt was very suitable to be worn to a beach. When she gave the shirt to him, he only looked at her coldly and said, "Don't try using such a cheap way to please me, and avoid those mind games that would be exposed right away." Wayne did not know what mind game had she played, but from that onwards, she had not bought anything for him anymore. Now, he had deliberately asked her to come back for something he treated as a waste back then. If it was not take revenge and make a fool of her, what would it be? Wayne took the shirt and left the clothes silently. She put it on the bed. As she was going to speak, she realized Jungkook was talking to somebody on phone. His voice was low throughout, and he did not glimpse at her even once, as if she did not exist. Wayne initially wanted to talk to him about the divorce. Seeing there was not a right time, she turned and left straight away. Her arrival and leaving were fast like a breeze. Jungkook finally lifted his head when she walked out of the bedroom. She washed her bag and looked like he did not expect her to leave so soon. He pursed his lips and spoke bluntly to the one at the other end of the call. Jungkook, "Yes, that's it for now. I still have other things to do." Wayne was cold and held back when she just reached the living room downstairs. Jungkook stood on the stairs and looked at her in a superior way. His expression was indifferent as usual. "Jungkook, have you found the shirt?" "Why, I have put it on your bed." "What about the others?" Wayne did not quite get what he meant, and she asked, "What others?" Jungkook frowned, looking unhappy. "Jungkook, my business trip lasts for a week. Do you think I will wear only one shirt?" Wayne felt speechless. When she had stayed there back then, she would always pack his luggage for him when he had to go for a business trip the next day. She did not expect that after humbly being his wife for 3 years, not only she did not receive any compliment, she had made him develop such a bad habit. When, "Mr. John, I have to remind you again, we are already divorced. Therefore, finding your shirt and packing your luggage for you are no longer my responsibility. Please find the housemaid or your next wife. Stop calling me for no reason anymore. Thank you." Jungkook's expression remained the same. He walked downstairs with moderate speed and stopped in front of her. "Jungkook, then let me remind you too. We still haven't gone through the divorce formalities, so legally you are still my wife, and only you can do these things. Wayne, so there's no more room for discussion." Jungkook, "I don't want to repeat it the second time." When pursed her lips, she took out her phone and started to search for a phone number. "Great. Since you like to order someone that much, I will ask Shomi to come to pack your luggage for you. She will definitely run faster than a rabbit." Yet, as she just found the number and wanted to dial it, her phone was snatched away. Jungkook looked at her frigidly. "Lee Wayne, have I been too lenient to you recently?" Wayne looked at her empty hand and only smiled after a while. "Wayne, I hope Mr. John could be more careful with his words. I can't handle those words." Jungkook's look became gloomier. "Jungkook, when would you stop playing hard to get?" "Wayne, stop challenging me. Just tell me what you want straight away." Wayne paused for a few seconds and said, "Didn't you say what I want is the John group last time? Would you give it to me?" Jungkook, you wish. Then let's divorce. I don't want anything. Jungkook frowned with impatience. He shoved one of his hands into the pocket and said, "What else would you say besides that word?" Wayne felt more ruffled. Didn't he want to get rid of her as soon as possible, all the time? Why did the situation look like she was the one pleading to divorce him now? Fine. I know you suspect my purpose. I have also mentioned that I can write a guarantee letter. You could even ask the lawyer and cameraman to follow us all the time when we divorce to prove that it's me who proposed the divorce, and I will not blackmail a single penny from you. When pursed his lips and did not speak a word. Or are you scared that I will use the divorce to defame you and the Jeon family in front of the press? You don't have to worry for that too. I promise, if I, Lee Wyan, want to get any benefit from our divorce, I will be drowned. Jungkook only said after a while, "Do you think I will believe you when you say like that?" Wyan looked like a deflated balloon at once. Then what on earth do you want me to do? Could you possibly want to maintain your identity as a husband while having a mistress outside the house? Jungkook, I'd rather die than raising another child. Jungkook glanced at her and sneered. Even though he did not say anything, Wayne could still get what he meant. Jungkook was only teasing her for using the same trick as Shomi. How would she have the right to accuse others, as Wayne still wanted to defend herself for one last bit? She heard Jungkook's cold voice. "Jungkook, I have to go for a business trip tomorrow. We'll talk after I come back." Wayne let out a smile at once. "Fine. It's okay. I will wait for you no matter how long. Do notify me once you return." Seeing her changing her attitude drastically, the concept in Jungkook's eyes surged. He turned around and went upstairs. What a foolish and cheeky women. The 1-week deadline soon arrived. Wayne gave Stanford the design draft and he gave her the reply straight away that night. Her design was approved by the boss and she was asked to sign the contract the next day. Wayne finally heaved a sigh of relief after seeing that reply. She was really quite scared that they would not be satisfied with her design. Considering there was 1 month left until the magazine's anniversary celebration, the office planned to take the opportunity of the celebration to organize a press conference and officially declare the introduction of their jewelry brand to the press. In order to not ruin the press conference this time, Wayne did not dare to slack off. Besides staying at home, drawing every day, she even had to choose the material for the jewelry. She had to make the final product based on her design. After the press conference ended, she would hand it to the agency shop to be further processed and sold. She was so busy that she had forgotten the divorce she promised Jungkook, and she had no idea when had he returned from the business trip. Nevertheless, he had not contacted her ever since. As Wayne just put down her pencil and was going to rest for a while, her phone, which was placed on the table, vibrated. She turned around and the call was from Jeon. She phoned and only picked up the call when her phone rang for the second time. "Jeon, Wayne, your brother is going to sit for the National College Entrance Examination next year. The teacher says he needs to go to tuition class. I'm lack of money. Please give me." "Wayne, how much is it?" "Jeon, let me count. Tuition fee is kind of expensive. Please give me 6 million on first. I will save the rest as his tuition fee for next semester." Wayne replied calmly, "Firstly, is this year Minho will sit for the exam. Secondly, he is the top in the whole city and he does not need extra tuition. Thirdly, I have never heard that any tuition class needs to be charged 3 or 6 million for tuition fee." Chen was slightly annoyed when his lies were exposed. "Chen, stop giving me so many excuses. Just give me the money." "Wayne, I don't have any money." "Chen, if you don't, ask from your husband. He's so rich. 6 million won should be nothing to him." "Wayne, no one earns money without paying effort. His money is none of my business. Plus, I have already divorced him, so I don't have any reason to ask money from him either." Chen growled at the other end of the call. "Chen, what? Who permitted you to divorce? Did I? Even if you are divorced, he should give half of the family property to you. How could you possibly not have any money?" "Wayne, you are getting rebellious. Do you not want to support your father anymore? Give me 30 million won this instant, or else I won't be done with you." "Wayne, no, I didn't get a single penny." After finished, she straight away hung up the call. Not long after that, Minho called her. "Minho, did Dad call you and asked for money again?" "No matter what," he said, "don't give him. He has grumbled again recently and has owned a few million won. He's now hiding." "Wayne, I know I didn't give him." When Wayne had paid off his debt worth 30 million won, she had said if he grumbled again, his life would no longer be her concern, and she warned him not to look for her. Yet, how would Lee Chen change that easily? He had used different tricks to ask her for money all these years, either lying that he had broken a leg and needed money for surgery, or saying Minho had fought with someone and they wanted to make matters worse by involving the school authority. He knew even she refused to care for him, she would never not care for her younger brother. Wayne and Minho had been tricked by him twice in the beginning, but after that they were not surprised by his trick anymore and had even gone numbed with it. "Wayne, have you figured out which university to apply to?" "Minho, yeah." "Minho, do you want to go abroad? I still have some money, and there should be no problem sending you abroad. Plus, you are able to get scholarships." Wayne wanted to send Minho away, far away from Chen. She did not want him to be trapped in the bog like her. Minho interrupted her. "Minho, no thanks. I will stay here. I won't go anywhere." Wayne secretly sighed, and he knew his temper. "I will leave you to decide for yourself. Tell me if you need money, Minho. Keep the money to yourself. I can earn it if I need it." He then asked, "Did he treat you good recently?" Having mentioned Jungkook, Wayne was slightly speechless. "Wayne, yeah, it's quite good. Minho, I'm going to divorce him." Minho only fell silent for 2 seconds, as if he was not surprised to hear that. "Minho, that's not a bad thing though. You can count on me in the future." "Wayne, I'm able-bodied. I can take care of myself. Just focus on your studies, okay?" After hanging up, Wayne walked out of the bedroom. She saw Jessie curling up on the couch and she looked lethargic. Her face was light to pale. "Wayne, what's wrong, Jessie? Are you unwell?" Jessie shook her head and she sounded weak. "Jessie, I'm on periods. I'll be okay after resting for a while." Wayne poured a glass of hot water for her. "Wayne, you can't be like this. I'll buy some ginger and brown sugar soup and heat back downstairs for you. Do you have anything more that you would like to eat?" Jessie became energetic once again when she heard that. After pressing the mail orders passionately, she fell back to the couch. Ryan, you are the best. That bastard is foolish for not loving you. Ryan smiled and got up. What's your thinking? After going downstairs, she headed to the supermarket next door and finished buying the stuff in the pharmacy. Buying the things Jessie wanted, she looked at the sanitary pad packings on the rack and suddenly realized her period had not come for almost 2 months.